Hello, peeps. Welcome to my closet. This is Frodo, Frodo Finds, Fernando, aka Frodo. Today we're gonna go through or watch the video about um, questions why Latinos voted for Trump. Why a lot of Latinos switched from um, Democrats to Republican, according to the statistics. Majority still votes blue or Democrats. I think a little over 50%, but there is a huge shift now that's going on. So PragerU is going to cover that. And if you want to, I'm going to link the video into the description. So if you want to watch the whole thing, you can do that. But keep in mind that I'm going to be talking through all of this. So if you're bothered by it, link the link below. But if not, hang with me. And we'll go through this. Okay, I'm gonna see how much or how many these talking points that PragerU got it right. So we'll should start now.
For decades, Hispanics have been considered a reliable voting bloc for the Democratic Party. It didn't matter who the candidate was. The
Who's this
assumption
guy?
was
All right, I missed that. I'm sorry. Franklin Camargo. Okay, so he's the host of Man on the Street, Espanol. Just keep in mind, I'm not. Even though my name is Fernando, I'm not Hispanic. I'm a Filipino, a dark Filipino. Came to the States back in 1993 when I was 18, and I am a naturalized citizen. My family came over in the late 80s and 90s and all of that, so we did it legally. So you can say fit in that category, but I'm not a Latino. I'm more like Asians, Pacific Islander kind of thing, whatever you want to call it. But I've also I started as a Democrat back in the day, moderate Democrat though. Also and over the years I get kind of get smarter, as you say. Now I vote Republican. Majority of Republican I vote. So anyway, let's go.
didn't matter who the candidate was. The assumption was if you're a Hispanic,
Yeah.
you vote blue. That didn't happen in 2024. In fact, perhaps the biggest shock of the American presidential election was the movement of Hispanic voters from the left to the right.
So the common theory, the common misconceptions would be like, if you're a minority, regardless if you're Latino or not, but if you're a minority, non-white, you would automatically or be assumed to be a Democrat. That's what he's saying. So, but there's a shift.
That shift was dramatic enough to allow Republicans to sweep the White House,
Yep.
the Senate,
Yep.
and the House of Representatives. This leads to some intriguing questions. Is this shift a one off? Is there a historical precedent for this shift? What are the key causes and implications? Let's try to answer the first question by looking at some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, 71% of Hispanics voted
huge.
for Barack Obama.
That's huge.
That dropped to 66%
Still
for
huge.
Hillary Clinton in 2016. In 2020, it dropped a bit further. Joe Biden won 65.
Okay, you should be putting the asterisk on that and Hispanic vote and 65%, because this is what happened during COVID, and as to this day I still believe that Biden was a COVID precedent, which is the pandemic helped him win the elections. You can research that and how the electoral precincts and how it was changed, and per state, and how it was changed. They changed the way people how they did a mail-in ballots. They extended the the deadline on those mail-in ballots, etc., etc. I mean, they were counting like 2 weeks after the like they were still counting votes. So yeah, they should put an asterisk on that.
Percent of the Latino vote. According to the NBC exit polls, Kamala Harris got 52% of the Hispanic vote.
It's still a lot, 52%. It's still a lot, 52%.
Donald Trump secured 46%, the highest for any Republican presidential
Yeah.
candidate in recent memory.
Yep.
To understand what's happening with Hispanics today, let's look at
Mm.
another pivotal realignment: the shift of white voters in the South from Democrat to Republican. For over a century, white Southerners were, for the most part, staunch Democrats. But
Yeah.
in the late 60s, they started to trend Republican. The
It.
reason? Racism. That was the argument made by the left. It was a convenient excuse, but it wasn't
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah.
The fact is, the Southern shift to the GOP was driven overwhelmingly by the Democratic Party's embrace of left wing values, big government, contempt for patriotism, and denigration of religious faith. Fast forward to today, how does the left explain Latino defection to the right? Racism.
Yeah.
Here's how they work it out. Those Latinos who voted Republican have become tools of
Oh
white
my
supremacy,
goodness.
through in
Yeah.
misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and transphobia, and it all makes sense to the left. Aside from being patronizing, this is as inaccurate as it was in explaining the white Southern shift 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just like those Southern whites, today's Latinos are changing their political affiliation because the Democratic Party no longer represents their values.
Exactly. Exactly. Just like when, well, there was a value. Okay, let me put this way. When Obama ran for president, there was a lot of Latinos that, to them, or a lot of minorities actually, to them, having a black or mixed race president is a fresh a breed of fresh air, I should say. Non-white, I should say. you know and Obama, he was really good. He was really good in talking. He's really good in being be the moderate of things. He was talking about family values and one thing, and then he was talking about embracing the non-nuclear family kind of thing. So he was always in the middle, and he loved doing that. you know but because that's he's really good. He's really good in that. So, but now the a lot of Latinos, especially the younger ones, they see through the lens. They see through the what the Democrat Party is actually has become. You know, they embrace. I'm gonna let him explain that, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna say that and embrace the non-nuclear family. They embrace progressive and progress in wrong kind of things that they progress of what I'm saying is letting transgenders, men's using women's bathroom and letting men's play in the women's sports, etc., etc. So those are the things. So I'm gonna let him.
A powerful example is Stark County, Texas, a border county that is 97% Hispanic. For a century, it was deep blue. Then, in 2024, it flipped. Democrats assumed that Hispanics near the border would support their immigration policies. But Latinos in Stark County felt the impact of those policies. Streets taken over by foreign gangs.
And one of those things, just like my main thing when I voted for Trump, is the tough on crime, tough on criminal illegals that's hanging around in the United States. Like I said, like he says, streets taken over foreign gang, MS-13. They're being emboldened by the left, by the Democrats.
Schools flooded with migrant children. Hospital emergency rooms overwhelmed. According to Pew Research, 75% of Latinos see the border crisis as a major problem.
Yep, that's true.
Let's look at another values issue: faith and traditional family values.
Told you.
According to a 2020 study, over three-quarters of Hispanic Americans strongly identify as Christian. Faith and traditional family values
Yep.
shape their worldview. That sounds a lot more in line with the Republican than the Democratic Party. Most Latino voters don't want their kids taught to question their gender any more than most white voters do. They're also insulted by
Exactly.
such woke terms as Latinx.
Latinx,
According
or I think now they have like the Philippine X, Philippine X or something like that. I don't know. They come up with all this alphabetic thing. I don't know. It's just it doesn't appeal to majority.
to
That's
surveys, 90% of Latinos prefer the traditional terms Latino or
or Hispanic.
Hispanic.
Yeah.
Yet, progressive activists and politicians insist on using Latinx,
Oh my.
ignoring the cultural and linguistic preference of the very people they claim to represent. Finally, there is the very real concern that the Democratic Party's policy prescriptions sound too much like the socialist policies that drove
Yeah.
Latinos out of
There we
their
go.
native countries.
Yep.
High taxes and overregulation that make it hard to start a new
Yeah.
business.
Oof, man.
Promises about social justice and wealth redistribution, which
Yeah.
always lead to elites getting more power and poverty for everyone else.
Exactly, and that's what's going on in New York. I think Mandani or something like that. I don't know if he's gonna win. You know, that's his agenda. That's
The government printing money, leading to crippling inflation. These are red flags, and Latinos are not going to vote for the party that
yeah,
promotes them.
yeah.
So, are we seeing a genuine political realignment or a one off? As much as the Republicans would like it to be a permanent shift, and as much as the Democrats would like it to be an aberration, we won't know the answers to these questions until we go through a few more election cycles.
Yeah.
But we do know this: Latinos are the fastest growing segment of the American population, and they
Yeah,
will play an
one of 'em.
increasingly important role in American politics. If Latinos become unpredictable, that is, their votes can't be taken for granted by Democrats, American politics will become a very different ballgame. I'm Franklin Camargo for
Yeah,
Prager University.
yeah, and that's why Latinos voted for for Trump. You know, I would like to see more of Latinos, um, making the right decisions in 2028 or even in the 2026 of midterm election. That a lot of congressional election. That's what uh, the Democrats and Republicans are doing now about gerrymandering the district. You know, and that was a whole another videos or topics about that and how the Democrats had been really successful when it comes to gerrymandering districts. They've done that in California. This is why California has been always been blue, always been blue. So, and because they know how uh, to win those districts, and now they're mad that the Republicans doing that in their states. So we'll see about that. But anyway, this is for now. Comment or like or whatever. Let me know later.